Hello again. In this video we will be producing a label for the ASC Battle Atari 2600 cartridge. As you can see here, we are in Photoshop again today, and this is a scan of the front of the ASC Battle cartridge that I have in my Atari collection, and as you can see, it's pretty bad. It doesn't look too good. In fact, the image is pretty washed out, and it's pretty hard to see what's going on here. Looks like we have aircraft at the top here. We have someone in the middle with a rifle, and then we have some artillery over here, a battleship and a submarine, but yeah, the detail isn't too good. So what we will be doing is reproducing this front label here, as well as the what I'm calling the top label, which is this label here, in a template that I produced in Photoshop. So yeah, let's get going here. So first thing we'll take a look at here is the template for the label, and as you can see, there is still this is the same label template that I used to produce the Defender label earlier today. And so what I'll do is I'm going to go through and get rid of the Defender related layers that are over on the right here. So what we'll do, and then what we'll do is we'll adapt the text that was used in the Defender label and make it look like the text that is on the actual cartridge here. And yeah, this is a little bit tedious, this type of work, but I think when all is said and done, we should end up with a fairly nice looking label that we can print and replace this dull faded label with. So yeah, let me jump back into the template here. So let me get rid of the components associated with Defender. The first one I'll get rid of is the actual artwork here, so let me get rid of that. I'll just delete that layer. If we look at the SC Battle artwork area here, it uses black text and a black Atari logo. The text here is the model number of the cartridge, and then we have the Atari logo here. And so let's get rid of those, because we won't be using the black versions of either one of those. We'll be, oh, excuse me, the white versions that are in the Defender version here. So we'll get rid of these two layers. Let me just hide those, and we'll hide the logo as well. And there's also a little registered trademark down there. We'll get rid of, as you can see, a registration graphic there, so we'll get rid of that. I think that's that layer. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that's gone. And we also have the original scan for Defender. We'll delete that. And we also have the scan for the top label here for Defender. We'll get rid of that because we won't need it, obviously. So now what we need to do is actually bring over the label scan and overlay it over the top of this template here, so that we can see how things line up, whether or not we have to shift these text layers around. And we will work on the text layers first, get those nailed down, and then move on to the artwork. And yeah, so let's go to the front layer first, the front label, and we will copy this. I'll just do a quick rectangular copy of this this image here, and then we'll just paste it into this template. So we'll do a edit paste, and there it is. And we'll also, since we're copy and pasting stuff around, I'll just roughly just place that there. Since we're copying stuff around, we'll grab the top label as well from this scan, and just grab all of that, and we'll do another copy, and we will do another paste over in the template document here. There we go. Now, as you can see, this one's a little bit, this one's, I think, is roughly generally aligned vertically and horizontally, but this one, as you can see, is a little bit skewed, so we're going to have to correct that. Let me get my transform controls up here. So that one's going to end up down there somewhere, and this one is going to end up over here. So I think the first thing we need to do is make sure that these two scans are actually aligned horizontally and vertically in the document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some grids here. So I've got a nice little square grid here, and let's align the bottom one first. And as you can see, the label is kind of dropping off to the right. So what we'll do is just simply align that. Actually, before I do any messing around here, let's go ahead and save the template. And what we'll do is we'll align this top label here as close as I can get it to the grid. Let me just move the top edge of the label up slightly so that we can get it right up to the grid. I think that's pretty close. Let me look at the vertical alignment of the edge of the label here. Yeah, it's not too bad. And there. Yeah, it's not too bad. So I think that looks about pretty close. We'll accept that. And we will do the same now for the front label as well. Let's find something that we can use to align. I think we'll use this grid line here and this top edge of the image here to actually align this. So let's do a little bit of a rotation here as well. We're just going to rotate this image ever so slightly. Shift it down so that we can see the edges come in contact with the grid. A little bit more. Just too much. There we go. I think that's about right. Let me confirm the change here, and it'll clean things up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. The verticals look okay. Yeah, maybe we need to do a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little bit off. So let me continue to tune this. Need to go slightly clockwise. I think that might do it right there. Let's accept that change. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so we have the in fact, let me save that. We have the front and the top label scans adjusted, and so what we'll do, the bottom label we'll work on first here, the actual overlay. So we've got the scan here overlaying the template layers that are behind it. So what I'll do is I'm going to change the opacity of the scan, and just so that we can kind of see through it. And then what we can do is we can see the dark outline of the template below the scan. And what I'm going to do is just shift the shift the scan around so that it kind of lines up with the edge of the template label here. And I think that's pretty close. I don't think it has to be super perfect here, but I think that's good enough right there. And yeah, it's pretty close. So that's not too bad. So as you can see, it's this one's a little bit seems a little bit lower, the text on this one, than the Defender text. Let me just drop it down a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap here, so let me drop it down slightly, or actually take it up rather. There we go. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, I think we'll run with that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, let's save that, and we'll move on to the next step, which will be we'll do the same for the front label. Let's see how that looks when we see through it. So let me select the front label and label scan, and we'll drop the opacity down to about 50% so that we can see through it. And below it you'll see that we've got the Defender stuff going on there. So let's take a look and see if we can see the edge of the scan in relation to the underlying template. It's a little bit darker. Let me drop the opacity down a little bit more. Yeah, it's actually too much, I think. Yeah, there we go. Right. So we see the edge of the template, and which is sitting up pretty high up here. So we need to kind of move the edge of the label scan up and kind of get it close to this edge here. So let's do that. I'm going to just use my arrow keys to move this around. As you can see, this little line that's showing through here at the edge of the scanned label, we can kind of get up to that radius up the top there, and that should give us a rough location. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right about there. And let's just see how that. Yeah, it's pretty close to the text here is pretty close to where the Defender text was. So I think we can run with that, although this one seems a little bit skewed to the right maybe. Let's get rid of the. Yeah, actually I think it's the. Yeah, we'll have to do some playing with the layers here. The game program layer looks pretty good. The title layer looks a little bit kind of skewed to the left there, but we've got more. Instead of an asterisk, we've got a trademark symbol here. We've got a trademark symbol there. Let's see what this controller. Yeah, seems to be a little bit. The original scan seems to be skewed to the left slightly, which is interesting. So anyway, we'll see. Let's get these layers a little bit closer to the way that we need them here. So let's anyway, let's leave that. I'm going to save that for now, and we'll jump back to the top layer, which will be a little bit less complex to work with here. So there is the scan overlay, and so what we need to do is get rid of the asterisk, replace it with a TM, and change the title. And it looks like the font is a little bit smaller for the AirC Battle cartridge. So what we will do is we will change this to AirC Battle. So let me go down, and this is the top title layer there. So we will just edit that and just call this AirC Battle. go. Get rid of the D. DRC battle. And there we go, we're left with that. We need to get rid of the asterisk. I'll just hide it for now. And let's bring in the overlay again here. Let's see how far out we are. We are quite a bit out on the size. So let's, I'll keep the overlay up so that we can play with the font sizing now. So let's go down, back down to our title layer, title top here, and we'll select the text and just size it down. Right now we're at a font size of 100 pixels using the Atari font Mumbo SSK. So what we'll do is we'll drop that down. I'll drop it down 10%. Let's go down to 90 pixels. And yeah, actually that was a pretty good guess, so that's pretty close actually. Yeah, let me click that, and then we'll just move the layer around a little bit and see what that looks like. So let me just pop it up, pop it down rather, and just move it over slightly. And that's pretty... Although the letter spacing's a little bit off, the actual area that the text is occupying is about the same. Yeah, it's not too bad. What I'll do is I'll increase the spacing a fraction here between the new letters. So let me select my letters, and we will increase the spacing down here. We'll take it up to 10 with one of their fixed values here, and as you can see that's getting closer, so let's get it up to 12. Let's see what that looks like. I'd say that's pretty darn close. Subtle differences, I think, again, like I said in the Defender video, I think you know, we're dealing with the digital typesetting here versus what you could call analog typesetting by hand or photograph with the original label. So I think that looks pretty good, actually. Let me bump up the opacity of the top label scan. Right now we're at 49. Let's go up to 100% so we can see the actual label. And there it is. So that's just a little bit of a jump between the two. Yeah, it's pretty close. And I think we may come down slightly on the font size of the new stuff here, so let me do that. I think I'll come down a couple of pixels, go down to like 80, 88 maybe. Let's see what that looks like. We toggle them back and forward. Still a lot of movement there. Not really happy with that. Let me drop the opacity down on this. See how far off we are. I think that made it worse, actually. So let's take this back up again. Maybe go 89 on the pixel size. And it might need to be shifted around a little bit here. So let's go back to the layer here. Yeah, I think the vertical size looks about right. It's just there's a little bit of wandering on the horizontal character spacing here. I think we'll shift it, shift the new label slightly to the right, just to get that looking a little bit better, a little bit more reasonable here. Top title. Let me just make sure I'm on the right layer. There we go. And just shift that over slightly. Oops. Got my directions wrong there. There we go. As you can see, farther away from the center you go, the worse the character spacing is. So I think we'll just leave it in the middle there. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Save. And like I said in the Defender video, you could spend a lot of time adjusting individual letter spacing here. Yeah, I don't think it's justified. I think we can just run with what we've got for the digital spacing. And so next step with the top label is to actually introduce the TM here. And I think I might have one of those. When I originally set up the template, I put a TM, yeah, here it is, a TM in place. So let me grab or activate that layer and see where that went. There it is. So we do have a TM. Let me drop that down with the other top layer. So we've got an asterisk layer, we got a TM layer, so the asterisk has been disabled, now we've got the TM. And what we'll do is we'll move this up into roughly this same position as the original label scan, which is up around here. Now obviously it's going to have to go slightly over. I think it needs to be sized down a bit as well, a little bit. So I'll grab that and we'll just reduce the size. Let's go down to, let's say, 34. See what that looks like. Still a little bit too big. Let's drop it down to 30. Get rid of the fraction. And see what that looks like. Take it up a little bit. Let me just confirm the edit, and then we'll take it up a little bit and see how it meshes. It's a little bit bigger. Let's drop it down a little bit more. Say to about 28, and see what that looks like. 28. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. We'll run with that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's get rid of the, just to see what it looks like, get rid of the scan overlay here. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Happy with that. So what we need to do next, obviously, is match the color. Right now we've got the wrong color, so let's bump up the opacity for the top layer scan. There we go. And yeah, we're going to have to decide on a color here. Let me look at the other label and see what we have there in the way of a color. Keep in mind that what should be white here is now a grey, dingy grey color. So I'd assume that this color here has also been reduced in brightness. It's kind of like a reddish orange color. This text, kind of like the brightness on this part of the label down here. So I think what I'll do is just eyedrop a bright area here. Go with that and see what that looks like. So we'll run with that. Let me pop this up, and I think I'll give it a little bit more brightness. So I'm going to go slightly up like that, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay to that, and then what we'll do, we'll hide the two scan layers, and then we'll select the text and then change the color. So let's select this text first, and we will take this and then just eyedrop over here. There we go, and we'll go OK to that. And then we'll do the same to this little layer here, the little TM. Select it. There we go. And target that color again. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty accurate. Okay, so we need to actually do that with this layer here. And we'll again target that color. And also we actually need to put another TM in there rather than an asterisk. If we look at the original, we got TMs up the top there. So let's duplicate that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll take the, let's see if I've got another TM actually. Yeah, I've got another TM here. There we go, I think I'll just use that one. Let me get rid of the asterisks for the top, of the front layer, which is this one. Get rid of that, and then we've got a new TM. Let's bring that down, which is this one. Make sure I've got my layers all sorted out here. There we go, and we can move that one over and put it next to the Defender. In fact, let me get rid of the grid here. Don't need that one anymore. There we go. That's a little bit cleaner looking. Okay. Obviously we need to size this text, but well, I'll do that in just a sec. So let's overlay. I think as far as the top label goes, I think that's pretty much done. So it's all going to be up on the front now that we need to work on, and let's get an overlay going here. So let's reactivate the original scan, and we'll reduce the opacity a little bit here, so that oops, it'd be helpful if I selected it. We'll reduce the opacity down a little bit. The question is, what did I just reduce the opacity of? I think it was something down here by mistake, perhaps. Okay, yeah, we'll have to go through and check these again here. So sorry about that. Let's see what we got here. Game program. Let me check the opacities on these guys. I don't want to accidentally make something go fade out on us. Hopefully it's not the mask. Okay, so that's been faded. Okay, well, I think it really, maybe I'm just getting tired here. Okay, well, let's see. So let's go back up to the front layer again here, and front scan. And we obviously need to, if we look at the text here, it seems like Defender's big again. So we need to reduce the size of that down and change the colors. So let's get rid of this preview here, and we'll just change the. I think actually we probably match the font size of the top label here. So let me just refresh my memory of that. Let's go to the top title here, and let's take a look at what font size we're using. I think it was around 28, if my poor memory serves me correctly. Well, actually I'm completely off. Say 89. So 89 pixels, and we'll make this one the same up here. And let's select the front title, and then just make this one 89. Slightly down, 89. There we go. And I think we also adjust the gap here, but let's we'll treat this one a little bit separate from the other one. So this is yeah, Air Sea Battle, Air Sea Battle. There we go. And that's actually all nice and centered. Let's see how that compares to the original scan. So it's, I have a feeling we're going to have to shift this over a little bit to accommodate the TM here. Yeah, not too much. So a little bit over and a little bit up, basically. up and over. So let's do that. We've still got the text layer selected. We'll just nudge it around. So we go over and then up. And yeah, it's a little bit, I think we need to adjust the character spacing. Let's do that. Select the layer and the text, and then we'll go up a little bit on the spacing. Let's run with that, and we'll do a little bit of nudging here of the text layer. It seems like it's off more than the other one, so let me increase the spacing again and see what it looks like. I think we'll go up to 12, see how much of a change that gives us here. I think that looks good. Just nudge it over a little bit. It's aligning in the center real good, and the further out from the center you go, it's a little bit less. So let's take it out a little bit more. And again, we could do this on a character by character basis, but yeah, I just don't have the patience for that. I don't think it really makes that huge amount of difference. Okay, so let's get the center on. Okay, yeah, we're about 5 pixels out on each end, but that's not bad. So the TM is next. Let's grab that TM and put it where it should be here. So I'll nudge that over and come down a bit. Let's zoom in on that so we can see it. And obviously the font size needs to come down. We'll drop that. This is the one that was 28, I believe. 28. And we'll okay the font size, and then we'll just nudge it around a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. Now, yeah, there. That's pretty darn close. Yeah, so we'll run with that. Now this needs to be made the right color here, I think. So we'll target the kind of yellow, orangey red. Kind of like a salmon type color. Go okay to that. Alright, let's hide the scan and see what that looks like. There we go. I think I might have found the layer that I made. See-through. So let's make that. There we go. 100% opacity. Okay, let's save this. I haven't saved it for a few moments here. There we go. Okay, AirC Battle. Let's get the scan again here in place. And I think the game program layer will have to be shifted a little bit. It's a little bit off one end to the right here. So let's grab that, and we'll do a little bit of nudging here. Get it a little bit more reasonable. So again, this one will be a little bit off on the extremes to the left and right, but in the center it looks pretty good. So right around there. Vertically it's okay. Just the horizontal character spacing's throwing it, so that's pretty good. Let's look at the TM for that. And nudge that down a bit. I think it's a little bit too big, so let's play with the sizing. 24, let's drop it down to 22, see what it looks like. There we go. Confirm the change, and we'll nudge it around a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's save it. Okay, let's see what this looks like without the overlay. So we'll drop the overlay layer visibility. We'll turn it off with a little eyeball here. Poke it in the eye. There. Okay. So the top two text layers are looking good. Now, get rid of the. Let me do that again. Yeah, the top two layers are looking pretty good to me. So let's work on the use with joystick controllers. That needs to be shifted around a little bit, nudged around. Use with joystick is this layer here. Let me just make sure it's the right one. Yep, there we go. So what we can do now is just nudge that to the left and up. So I'll do that with my keyboard. This one seems to be pretty darn close. Yeah. Yeah, let me zoom in. See, there's some differences here, but once you go really close, but I think we're good about there. Verticals are okay. Horizontals are a little bit off, of course, but again, that's to be expected. Okay, that looks good to me. Let's do a little bit of flipping between the scan and the actual thing. There it is. So I think we'll. I think that looks pretty good. Not perfect, but I think once that's printed, I don't think anyone will actually care. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's save that. And the last text layers are down here. Obviously, with the Airseat Battle, we just have one line of text below the artwork here, and it's just a simple copyright, whereas with the Defender, we actually had an extra trademark for Williams Electronics here, so we don't need that, so let's turn that off. That should be here somewhere. Indicates, so we don't need the asterisk at the end here, which is in its own little layer. We'll turn that off, and we'll turn off the Williams Electronics line down below that, which is this one here. Okay, and what we're left with is a layer that is used for copyright, and this one just is actually even more brief than the Defender copyright. So this one just says program contents and has the year and Atari ink. So let's match that. So let's jump back to the template. Just happens to be the same year, which is handy. I don't need to edit that. This is 81, and then the 81 and 81. So we leave that the same. And the ink is the same. So really, we just need to ditch label and just add contents in place of this and audio visual. So let's do that. So let's find the label, which is that layer. Let's make sure it's the right one. There it is. And we will get rid of the label, and we will add contents, I believe is what's back there. Oops. Contents. Alright. There we go. Spacing's okay, no extra spaces. And then we'll just confirm the edit. Now let's just kind of play with this a little bit here. I'm just going to nudge this down so that we can see. Oops. That needs to be uppercase. And let's fix that. That'll fix the character spacing. So let's make this all uppercase. Program. And contents. And let's see what that comes back as spacing wise there. Confirm the change and nudge it around a little bit. we're pretty close, although the copyright symbol is much bigger on ours. Yeah. Let's look at the fonts. So let's zoom in real close here. Yeah, the fonts are a little bit, I think the Defender font layer seems to be a little bit bigger, although the C looks okay, so I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to adjust the vertical size. Yeah, I think it's pretty darn close, within a pixel or two. And I'm not going to worry about this copyright symbol here. So let's get this centered as close as possible. And I think, as with the other text layers, we're going to be left with a little bit of drift on the character spacings, but I'm going to go with the digital over the analog here. And yeah, this is all over the place. I think it's due to the fact that the copyright symbol's there. So let's just get it roughly centered there. I think that's probably pretty good. It's occupying the same real estate, so we'll run with that. I think I'm happy with that. Let's get rid of the overlay of this scan, see what that looks like. Nice crisp white color. Save it. And I think we're there as far as the text layers go. Let's just, let me check the spelling. We've got 2 TMs. We've got joystick controllers, of course. RC Battle. Program contents, Atari Inc. 81. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let me just do a last comparison. Make sure I haven't missed anything on the front, and then we'll do the same on the other side. Or the top, I should say. Don't know why I called it the underside. When you slap the cartridge in, that is the top. Snap the cartridge into the console. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. So, the next order of business is to get this artwork going here. And that's going to be, well, that was the problem with this particular set of labels. If we look at the original scan for this this front label, it's in pretty bad shape. Text layer is dull, the actual image is washed out and got a lot of wear and tear on it, so it wouldn't be good to actually use that, of course. It's just bad. So what I did, and since this is the only cartridge, RC Battle cartridge I have, I had to jump to the internet and seek an image from somewhere else, and actually found a very good website called AtariMania.com, and they have a lot of artwork up there from not just the 2600 but also some other consoles and computers, and so I highly recommend that site. And what I was able to do is find a very nice box cover up on Atari Mania, and as you can see, if you compare this with the original scan of my cartridge, yeah, you'll see there's a huge difference. So I think what we'll do is we'll take this image here and do like we did with Defender and put it into the cartridge art here. And there's quite a huge difference between the two. As you can see, all of this detail, you just don't know what the heck it is. So it's clear you've got a submarine, a battleship, and some aircraft here, but if you go to the nice image here, you can actually see what they are. So you've got like a what looks like a B-52 bomber there dropping its bombs. You've got a guy with a gun. Looks like an air rifle. You got a submarine launching a Polaris ICBM there. You got a battleship launching all kinds of stuff, and then some artillery over here. You got some mines in the water. You got these look like Swedish aircraft to me, look like Saabs, but they've actually got US flags on them. So I don't think this is a US aircraft. This looks like a Saab to me. But anyway, so what we'll do is we'll take this image and basically crop it down, get rid of all the outer stuff here, which we don't need. And another thing that we'll have to get rid of is this text here, because that text is a bit different. So that text is in black on the real cartridge label, and so is the Atari logo. We jump over here. This box, I think it's box art, has the Warner Communications slogan there with their logo and Atari logo there. So we need to get rid of this because we want to use as much of this image as possible on the label itself. And we've also got a little bit of box damage here on the back of this submarine here, and we'll actually get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of the Atari logo, and look around the image a little bit closer and see if there's any imperfections in the cardboard here that we can get rid of, and also just make sure that everything's in order, and we'll end up with a nice little piece of art that we can throw onto the label. Yeah, so let's do that. So what I'll do is I'll use this actual image that I downloaded from the Atari Mania website, and we'll just crop it down and I'll save it out as something else. So let's crop it first. Let me get the cropping going here. Get rid of the stuff we don't need. Now some of the elements in the artwork actually extend off the edge here, like the top of the jets and the bomber and the sub and the torpedo. They extend beyond the artwork, but if we look at the actual scan, they're not visible here either. So that's not a big deal. We can actually crop those out. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to roughly generally crop it here. Try to crop it to this black. Oops, that's a little bit low. My accuracy is a little bit off here. There we go. I think that's good. And we'll take it down roughly generally. We might lose a few pixels, but I think the detail that we're gaining here is going to be very good. There we go. Well, oops, that's not very good. Let me try that again. Yeah. There we go. Okay, we'll run with that. And we'll run with that. Do a little bit of a crop. F1. And there we go. Alright, that looks good to me. Let's make sure I haven't picked up any strange borders here. And up the top, we'll take a quick look at that. Yeah, looks okay there, looks okay there. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Let's save this as something else. So file save as, and then what I'll do, as you can see, I've picked up other artwork as well for future videos. We'll add this into the label folders here, Airsea Battle, and we'll just save it out in there. I'll just keep the same file name. I will change the format. Let's go with a PNG over a JPEG. That way we don't get any artifact, even though we're saving at max quality. We don't want any messing around with JPEG artifacts, so we'll save that. There we go. Compression none, interlace none, so we'll just say OK to that. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice little image there to play with. So let's make this image an active layer. Double click the background over here, background layer, and just go OK, and that makes it an active layer that we can edit. We'll go ahead and save that again. And what I'm going to do is actually duplicate this this image here, create a second layer to actually do the editing with. Keep this one in the background in case we need to grab something. If I screw up or something, we can grab it from the original. So let's save that out. File save, and that's going to save that as it's no longer a PNG because we've got layering. It's going to save that as a Photoshop document. So we'll just say, yeah, we'll say OK to that. There we go. Okay, so we've got two layers, the original and then a duplicate clone, and the duplicate clone is what we're going to be editing. So the first order of business is to get rid of this stuff down here. Let's start over the left side first, and I'm going to use my trusty stamp tool here, which is this one. Looks like a little ink stamp, and it's called they call it the clone stamp tool. I found it very useful for doing retouching of stuff here. So let's eliminate, we'll just go from the top and work our way down. So we've got a torpedo that's gone off the edge of the image, and it's got some turbulence in the water coming and some bubbles and stuff coming off it. So we'll try to keep that there, which is behind the logo. I mean, I know this is very low res stuff, but we'll try to keep it reasonably close. Get rid of this, get rid of that. And this actually looks like a hair down here, which is actually on I was on the Atari Mania website looking at the artwork that was up there, and this is actually in all the artwork. So that's a part of the original. I think a lot of this, some of the artwork looks like it's perhaps watercolor, and maybe that's just a little bit of an edge of where they painted some more color into the image. I don't know, but anyway, so let's start getting rid of this stuff. So what this tool does, it's as the image suggests, it's a stamp tool. So it's like what you do is you pick an area that you want to use as a source, and then you stamp it over the top of what you want to replace. So what I end up doing is with something like this is I'll take sources from around where we need to replace and kind of fold in the pixels until we get rid of the stuff we need to get rid of. So I'm using my Alt key. When you see the big circle disappear, that means I've selected a source. And once I've done that and release the Alt key, then I can just paste or actually click where I want it to replace. So I'm just going to grab some pieces here and just yeah, there's no easy way to replace to do this other than do it manually. With this amount of detail that we've got here, we don't want to mess up anything, we don't want to lose anything, so it's best to, even though Photoshop has a lot of intelligent tools that is good for eliminating certain things quickly and easily, stuff like this, I find if you do it manually, you'll end up with a much better result, as well as less of a headache when it comes to actually getting it done. You spend less time doing it in the end. Okay, that looks pretty good. You got the dark going down, extending down. Let me break this. You got a few pixels here that look like they're very similar, so let me get rid of those. Okay. Alright, let's save that. I'm going to save as I go here. I don't want to, the power outages we've been getting in California, I don't want to risk losing my work here. So next, this torpedo extends behind the left part of the Atari logo. So what I'll do is grab that part and just kind of extend it over slowly. So we end up with a torpedo, and I'll do the same for the edge of the torpedo where it meets the water here. So I'll grab that and just kind of move it to the right, and then we've got some pixels that are similar here, so I'm going to break those up by just grabbing that and then just moving stuff around slightly, introducing some kind of chaos in the pixels here. Got stuff that's a little bit on the bright side on the edge, the top edge of the torpedo, so we'll grab that and we'll just wipe it out, and these 2 pixels here we'll get rid of. They're too, they stand out too much, so obviously not good. So there we go, we're getting there. So now we've got the rest of the Atari logo, what's left of it. Looks like a shark's eating it. So we got the left of it here, rest of it here, and what we need to do, the torpedo's going through the water and it's got some turbulence behind it. So we need to kind of maintain that up to the back side of the torpedo here. So I'm going to grab that. Just kind of randomize this this part of it until we get something that is free of the Atari logo. I probably should have done this area first, maybe, so I don't have much to work with. Yeah, in fact, let me do that right now. This Atari text here is easy to get rid of, so we'll just kind of fold that in on itself here until we get rid of the white text. This up here, I don't know what that is. It's brighter than the rest of it, so I'm going to get rid of it. And here as well. Maybe that's turbulence. Who knows? We're dealing with very small details, and a lot of this detail that we're working with here will actually disappear. Disappear when we actually size this thing down, this artwork down to actually incorporate into the label. So a lot of this detail will disappear, but it's nice to have the artwork anyway. You could always make a little poster like I did with the Defender artwork. So we'll just keep eating away at the Atari text here. Don't know what this is here. There's a little bit, a light patch there. I'm going to get rid of it. Just looking to create some chaos here so that any cloned pixels don't look like cloned pixels anymore. They disappear and look a little bit more random. Okay, so we're getting there. Like these pixels here just above the circle look a little bit too close. Okay, so let's eat away at the rest of the Atari logo here. And yeah, this is a tricky part. I have no idea what the back of the torpedo looks like. What I'll do is I'll extend this turbulence in. Let's get a slightly dimmer piece. So we're kind of using a little bit of artistic license here to actually finish off the back end of the torpedo. We've got a few of the swirly bits trailing off here. Obviously these 3 sections here you can see are kind of, that's a little bit too neat and not random enough, so we'll break those up a little bit here. Coming from the other angle. Do the same with this one here. Okay, still got a little bit of uniformity going on down the bottom here. There we go. Okay, that's better. Got the edge of the torpedo that looks like it's got some white highlights. Don't like that. I'll get rid of those. That doesn't look too bad. Looks like we got some turbulence coming off the back. Let me add a few bubbles to the top. Break them up a little bit so they don't look exactly like the others. There we go. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We'll run with that. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, let's save that, and we'll eliminate the next piece of text below that. This Warner Communications stuff down the bottom here, which should be pretty easy. Just fold it on itself here. Again, use a little bit of imagination. We'll keep the what looks like a hair in the image, as it looks like it's supposed to be there. I've introduced a little bit of bright pixels there, so let's get rid of those. Go up a bit. There we go. That toned them down. The pixels in here look a little bit too bright. Let's get rid of those. All right. So, getting there. And just grab stuff from the edge. Again, trying to create some turbulence, some randomness down here, so we can't see the edited area. We'll just kind of blend it in just a little bit. Don't know what this is here. I assume that's part of the original image, not damage, but we'll just continue. Again, a lot of this stuff's just going to go away when we size this down, so it's not like it's going to be magazine quality, so we'll just continue. We're eating away at this text. Although the the labels that I'm making to replace the damaged ones that I've got, they're pretty high quality. They're about 300 dpi. In fact, they are 300 dpi, which is okay. It's not super high res, but it's good enough to get a nice label, assuming you got a nice printer. Which at the moment I don't have a color printer in my inventory, so yeah, gonna have to work on that. Probably what I'm gonna do, rather than I might test this, get a hold of a color laser, and also I'd like to get a dye sublimation printer in the loop so that I can print these labels out with a dye sublimation printer, which will. With dye sublimation printers, you actually end up sealing the printout, because dye sublimation printers, they actually put a layer, almost like a clear coat over the top, so it gives you a little bit of durability over, let's say, a laser printout. And if you see the 8-Bit Guy's video on which is a few years old, I think now, on sticking labels to the cartridges. It's a very good video. He actually took, I think he used a laser printer in the end to produce his final label. He did a laser printout, which looked very good. However, the laser just fade. It was susceptible to fingerprints and oil. So what he did is he put a layer of sticky tape, shipping tape, over the top of the label, which sealed it in. And so that's the downside to lasers, and to a certain extent inkjet printers as well, is that the actual end printout is susceptible to smudging and fingerprints, that type of thing. Although they're pretty good these days, but they're not perfect. That's why I think maybe a dye sublimation printer will do a good job of sealing in the color. As what it does is once it's towards the end of the printing process, the dye sublimation printer will actually put a coated layer over the top of the printout. At least my old Kodak dye sublimation printer did, and had that for many years, and it was great for photography. Okay, I think that looks good. Now this bit is the last piece here of the puzzle. We'll save this, and let's get rid of this. And there's a little bit of damage here, which again I don't think we're ever going to see once this is sized down, but let's just get rid of it as best we can here. Okay, so that's the back of the sub. We've still got some damage here. Let me grab that part there and just kind of extend it over. There we go. Don't think anyone will ever notice that. Okay, it looks like we got an artist's signature there, which is really small, and I have no idea what it says, but not sure if that's the same artist that did the work for the Defender or not. Okay, so let's get rid of this this text here. I think what I'll do is grab part of the hull of the sub and just kind of slowly erase it, and yeah, just eat away. And then once we get the rough gradation of the side of the sub, we'll break up the cloning look there, which you can see here. Let's do the same. Grab the edge of the sub and just kind of walk this slowly to the right, and get rid of all this stuff down here. Actually, this really isn't too. It's lightly in contact with the bottom, so should be able to get rid of that. Okay. Okay. A bit too light. Let me grab that and just kind of smudge it a little bit. It's almost too dark there now, the edge. So we'll lighten it up a little bit here. Go. I think I'll take some of this dark stuff and maybe from below and just kind of introduce it further up. Okay. Need to break up that a little bit. I'll do that. Maybe add some noise in there. Sometimes that works wonders. I think we got some turbulence coming off the back of the sub there, so I have to be careful not to get rid of that. Let's see where the original, oh yeah, that text just goes slap over the top there of the sub, so let's see, where are we? There we go, back here. Okay, so I need to fix the hull, and let's just continue eating away at this, folding it in. Pixels, until we get rid of it. Oops, kind of went in the wrong direction there. Okay, getting there. Probably could have used a bigger area of cloning here, but we'll just keep nipping away at the text. Okay, yeah, we're going to randomize this a little bit here and randomize that, and let's get the hull extending down a bit here. Gonna have to randomize that. Yeah, not too happy with the bottom edge of that sub. It looks a little bit not mechanical. Randomize it a bit. There we go. Okay, and this bit here is unclear what that is really. Could be the end of the sub. I think I'll just break it up a little bit and get rid of the final part of the, let me extend this out a little bit here. Get rid of that. Okay, so the sub's kind of, the back of the sub's kind of fading into the murkiness of the water. That sounds good to me. Okay, there we go. Still not happy with this section here. Clean up the edges. Okay, not too bad. Now this all looks very stampy and cloney here, so let me well, actually I'm not gonna do add noise to this section. I'm just gonna randomly break it up. I think that's probably a little bit more control over it here. I could introduce some noise there that would break up the cloned pixels. There we go. That looks pretty good to me, except for these two little bright spots here. Okay, I think we're there. Like I say, when this thing's sized, this detail that we're seeing here will actually get crunched up, and will disappear. So let me take a quick look around the image now. Let me save what I've got. Don't want to have to redo this here again anytime soon. So let's take a quick look around the image, see if we see any artifacts or damage or dust from the scan. And we'll take out some of the either the brighter or the darker areas that look like they're not supposed to be there. Which, like above the circle, there's a little high spot here. We'll get rid of that. High spot here. Now these could all very well be just part of the image, but you see stuff like this here, that thing above the circle, it's got green in it, doesn't look like it's supposed to be there, so I will get rid of it. Same with this pixel here, get rid of that. And just kind of work our way around the image. Just scroll up. Yeah. Some high spots here, let's get rid of those. And that's good there. Go past the Saab jets, Swedish jets being flown by the United States. So we got a rogue pixel there. Grab that. Looks like we got World War II stuff there. It's a bit of a mishmash in this war, so I think that's just going to vanish. I'm going to leave, well, that's a bit obnoxious, that little pixel there, so let me get rid of it. There. And this guy's got a pixel right in his finger there, so let's get rid of that. That's better. Then we got some stuff going on here. This looks like watercolor type stuff. Oh, we got some stuff up here. We got a nice white pixel there. Get rid of that. We got a dark pixel there. Assume that that's not supposed to be there. We got some, this looks like watercolor stuff here, but I'm going to get rid of it anyway. And we got some pixels here I'm not going to bother with. I think these are just so, except maybe that one kind of shows up. Just kind of eyeballing the rest of the image here. Got a pixel there that kind of stands out. This here looks like maybe damage to the printout. Let's just break some of this up. That there, I don't know what that is, since it's, yeah, kind of looks like that stuff there, so I'm not going to touch that. Looks like it's original. Okay. Where is that pixel? I saw a pixel, there it is down there. That looks like it's a little bit mutated into a brighter pixel, so let's grab a little bit of blue. Oops, I didn't want to grab the pixel itself and clone it, so let's grab that and then just shift that up slightly. There we go. Got another little troublemaker here. Did the same thing. There we go. Yeah, didn't get rid of it. Actually, I think that's part of the original. Okay. I think we are there. You can actually see detail on the missile there. It's actually got wording. Okay, I think we're there. Let's save that. File save. And I think we're ready to kind of pull this over into the template. Just make sure I haven't missed anything. It's going to come back to haunt me when I see these things printed out. It's got some kind of pixel that's a little bit obnoxious. Like that one there. We'll eliminate. Okay. Alright, I'm going to leave that as it is. It looks good to me. Yeah, that looks good. Save. File save. And we didn't need to pull anything in from the original, so what we need to do now is jump over to the template and introduce the artwork into this area here, which is being indicated by the original scan for the from the cartridge. So we will grab this. Hopefully it's the same dimensions, roughly generally. Once it's shrunk down, copy that, jump back to the template, and then right at the very top, or towards the top, we'll add it below this mask here that I've got. I'll add it in here. Just do a paste. Ooh, it's actually smaller. Okay, so that was a lot less DPI. So instead of shrinking, we're going to be expanding. Yeah. Okay, well that was a bit of a surprise. I guess I should have checked the DPI on the image I got from Atari Mania. Okay, so we need to just make this bigger, which is fine. I think it will hold up okay once as we do that. So I'll kind of take it up to one extreme, up into that corner there, and then we will show the transformation controls, and then just drag it so that it meets the edge of the other side there, and we'll be left with a much better piece of artwork, even if it is a little bit lower resolution than I wanted. So let's grab this edge, and I'm going to hold down my shift key so that it maintains the proportions, and then we'll just stretch this down. And yeah, so it looks like we got a little bit of we'll just take it to the very bottom, make sure I'm over the edge. There we go. And I'm just going to apply that. We can maybe need to tweak it a little bit. We got the yeah, a little bit too far. Maybe my mask template here, my mask is a little bit too small for the image. Perhaps. Okay, let me get rid of the mask and let me play with the original versus the new one. So it looks like the original is slightly shifted to the left. So let me shift the layer to the left as well. There, just leave it there. It's slightly bigger. And not too bad, a little bit off on the horizontal. And if we add the mask back in, I think that will... No, mask's a little bit off as well. Okay, I need to correct that. Let me get rid of the original. And the mask, which actually masks off the rounded edges and the edge of the artwork. We got a nice radius here and a nice, not so nice radius here. Let me play with that a little bit. So maybe, yeah, the mask is a little bit too big on the vertical. So let me size this vertically like that. So we bring the radiuses up there. Still got the radius there, we've got a little bit of a radius here, but we're too wide, so I think let's save that before I do anything else. Apply the change, do a little bit of a save, and then there's the original, and it's a little bit smaller. Not by much. I think we've the submarine's moving. No, maybe not. Yeah, it's not moving much. Okay, well, we just need to size this this mask here so that we get a nice radius. And there we go. I think that's good right there. Let me save that. Let me apply the change. Save it. And let's do a little bit of toggling. Yeah, it's a little bit of difference between the two images, but I think we're going to live with it. I mean, the amount of clarity that we're getting with the new image is so much better. In fact, what I might do, I think that's good. What I might do is actually do a little bit of a sharpen, since we've sized this image up a little bit. I think what I'll do is I'll sharpen it just a tad so that we get some of these lines that'll come a little bit more crisp. Yeah, the mask, let me move that around. Let me just bump that around a little bit here. See if I think that's good on the horizontal. And on the vertical, yeah, I think we need to go up a little bit. A few pixels. Let's apply the change, and then just nudge it around a little bit, make sure, yeah, we're within a pixel of it being exactly the right size there. So I'm going to leave that as is. We've still got the signature there, so we got a lot more detail. Let's compare the original scan at 100% opacity, which is that, to the new artwork, which is that. And yeah, I think we've made a little bit of an improvement there. So I think that looks good. In fact, well, I think maybe it's my imagination. It looks like these aircraft up here are a little bit at a different angle. Maybe I'm just imagining it. No, I just think they're shifting around a little bit, that's all. Okay, well, I think that's a big improvement. Let me save that before I go any further. And then the last thing we need to do is actually reintroduce the model number and the Atari logo with the registered symbol there, and that should do it. So let's get this model number going first. So we will use the one that we have here, that we used with the Defender label. So I'll activate that layer, and it needs to be brought up above the new artwork layer so that it overlays it. Let me get rid of the original for now, and we're left with now the Defender had white text with a black border around it. So what we'll do is we'll change that first of all. I'll actually turn off the effects which add the border to the text. We don't need that. We just need to make the text black. So we'll highlight the text, select black, and away we go. Confirm the change. There we go. Now we just need the right model number now, which let's take a look at this. 2602, which matches what I've got here, 2602. So CX2602 for the model number. Let's see, get back to Photoshop. 2602. There we go. And let's see how that now compares with the original scan. Let me drop down the opacity so we can see through the original. Oops, that's the wrong opacity layer. Go to the scan, drop down the opacity so that we can get the positioning just right. There it is. Let's zoom in on that, and then we just need to relocate our text layer so that it matches. Looks like it's about the right size. Spacing is pretty good as well on the characters. I think that's pretty good. And we need to add an Atari logo here, which is a black logo, and I just happen to have one of those down here somewhere. At least I thought I did. There it is. Activate that layer, bring it up above the new artwork, and there it is. It's a massive version of the Atari logo, so we need to size that down. Let's do that. Let's highlight it, and we'll just size it. It's got one of these thin, I think that little register symbol is gonna get reduced greatly. Okay, so let's take that down and see how far off we are here as we're sizing it. Verticals look good, and the horizontals look good as well. The little register symbol is almost vanished, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, I think that's pretty spot on. Apply the change, and then I'll zoom in and just do a little bit of bumping around on the layer. Looks pretty darn close. A few pixels off maybe. On some of the lettering, it's always the lettering that seems to be... the logo itself looks pretty good. The lettering's a little bit... a few pixels off on the A in the middle of Atari. Oh well. We won't worry about that. That looks good to me. Let's turn off the original scan. And there we are. I think that looks pretty good. Let me turn off the transform controls here. Yeah, I think that will work. Let me recheck my spelling. Go. Yeah. That looks not too bad. And we still got some detail here. Oh yes, I said I was going to sharpen this up a little bit. Let me do that. Actually, what I'll do, let me duplicate the layer, just in case I don't want the sharpening at some point. So we got a duplicate of the artwork here, and we'll just do a little bit of a sharpen. We'll do a sharpen edges first, see what that looks like. I didn't see too much of a difference, which is to be expected. Let me go back in time, see if it made any difference at all. Not too much. Okay, let's do a different type of sharpen, see what that looks like. Sharpen, let's try just a generic sharpen more, see what that does. Okay, that was pretty good. Yeah, I think that will help. I don't see any that it's introduced any artifact into the image. Let's just toggle back and forward. It has brought up the texture of the watercolor textures here. It's made those a little bit more sharp. Actually, I think that did a pretty good job for just a generic sharpen. In fact, it's very good. See, the reason you have to sharpen your image if you go up on size is simply because if you just optics, you go up on size, you stretch out detail, and it ends up blurring slightly when you increase the size of an image. Because we're dealing with bitmapped images here, so you end up with this little bit of a blur introduced when you size up. The more you size up, the more that comes kind of blurry. So doing a little bit of a sharpen will just kind of make your detail jump out a little bit more, and it does in this case quite well. It's quite surprising how well the sharpen did to the target, to these mines down here, and the other detail in the aircraft here. It's did a good job. Okay, that looks good. Let's save that. So that's saved. Let me throw that into InDesign, and we'll be ready to produce a PDF and upload it to the website. Again, I'll put this up next to the Defender label that I did yesterday. What's the time now? Yeah, it's yesterday now. And so there'll be a PDF up there of this. And let's jump over to InDesign. As you can see, we got the Defender artwork still in here, so I'll click that and then we'll relink it. We'll link it to the new RC Battle artwork, which is this one here. So hopefully that gets thrown in there. Oops, that was the wrong artwork. Let me try that again. Let's try that again. I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the one I meant to click. There we go. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Now, let me take a little bit of a zoom in here, just to make sure that our little alignment marks show up, which they do... There we go. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. So all we really need to do now is change the technical stuff down the bottom here. So this is so the Defender, we want Air C Battle, and this, get rid of the what have I done here? Air C Battle title system. Oh, what have I done? I've moved stuff down. There we go. Move stuff up. Okay, system is 26 Atari VCS slash 2600, and it's today's date. What is it? The 14th now. Okay, 14th. We'll call it version 1 like the other one. And if I need to make any changes, I'll post them to the website just like I said I would do yesterday. So that looks a C Battle. There we go. That's a bit better. So there we go. I think that's I think we're there. What I will do is I will post this up to the website, like I said, shortly, and hopefully this will be a label that will be of use to people if they have a damaged label in their 2600 collection, like me. So yeah, let me save that, and we'll call that done. I'm going to try to do a label a day for the foreseeable future, and gee, this video took about an hour and a half, so yeah, hopefully no one fell asleep out there, or at least you found it interesting, and we'll call it a night. So take care.